Today, we want to talk about the Sahel region in Africa. There have been some interesting development in that part of Africa, in that Sahel regional part of Africa. I'm talking about the French-controlled part of Africa. Today, we're going to talk about three specific countries. We're going to talk about Burkina Faso, whose president, Ibrahim Traoré, is in the path to ensuring that his country is never allowed to be dominated by the European. That's what he promised the people. We're going to talk about Mali, and we're going to talk about Niger. Now, just in terms of history, these three countries, and not just these three countries, that we call the French part of Africa, have long been controlled by the French. The French have colonized them. And over the years, the French have practically raped these countries. In other words, they practically looted the resources, and the people of Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali have nothing to show for it. And the same European countries, France, that had been, exploiting these countries are the same country who are supporting, who are saying how backwards Africa is and how kids are dying, how they don't have eggs and they don't have white. Now, how have the French been able to do that? Very simple. Over the last 60 years, okay, and this is from the time of Charles de Gaulle, when Charles de Gaulle was president of France, the French have decided that they're going to take control of those countries' economy. They're going to take control of their finances. But in order for them to keep control, what they've done over the years, it keep propping up people that could support them. And we see the same thing. I mean, that is what we call a classic playbook of the West. They go into a country, whether it's Burkina Faso, whether it's Mali, whether it's any other country, they go to this country, and what they do is they find politicians that would play their game. They prop up this politician, they put them in power, they keep them in power so that this politician can protect their own interests against the interests of the people. So beginning in 2021, 2022, there has been a series of coups d'etat. But normally, when there is a coup d'etat, the people suffer. That's usually what happens. But in this case, in the Sahel region, for example, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, the military took over. And when the military took over, the people of this country were celebrating. They were in the streets celebrating. Now, let's talk about Burkina Faso, for example. Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré, very young guy, 36 years old. He took over back in 2022 in a coup d'etat. And when he took over, the people of Burkina Faso came out to support him. And since he's taking over, he has done amazing work. First, he got rid of the French because the French army were in Burkina Faso under the guise that they were fighting jihadists or Islamists. But meanwhile, French companies were raping the country, stealing their uranium, stealing their gold, stealing their diamond. They were just doing it all. So he kicked the French military out. Then he asked the French ambassador to leave. The French ambassador refused to leave. And you remember that, guys. You would remember that the French ambassador actually went inside the embassy and tried to hide in there. But finally, he got the French out. Then after he got the French out, he approached the Russian and said, hey, we'd like to work with you. Suddenly, I don't know whether the French is better than the Russian, but he approached the Russian. Now, what he's been able to do is create a situations where he got rid of all the puppets, because inside the government, there were puppets working for the French, either their intelligence puppet was telling what's going on. He got rid of them. He got rid of everybody. So it's not just Burkina Faso that are doing that. Niger has done the same thing. 6 months ago, they kicked out the French. Now, the American, and guys, this is what's interesting. The American has spent over $200 million to build a military compound where they make drones in Niger. And the Nigerian government just last week kicked out the American. They said, look, you got to pack up your bag. You got to get out of here. We don't need you. We can handle that by ourselves. Now, of course, we have jihadists, Islamists in that part of the world, in that part of Africa. And then they have to protect the people against those Islamists and jihadists. So what Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are doing, they form a group together. They form what we call a military pact, a defense pact, so that they can help each other fight jihadists. They can help each other fight Islamists. Now, suddenly, these countries even though the West will tell you that they are some of the poorest country in the world, that's not necessarily true. These countries are not poor at all. This country have more minerals. They have more things to get them hard currency than a lot of the so-called rich countries, for example, like France, for example, or Great Britain, or even the United States. So to say that these countries are poor is not technically right. They're not poor. This country have been made to be poor. They have been impoverished by the West. And when you take a country like that, you take all their resources, you don't pay for it. Do you know that the French, for many, many years, I mean, like 50, 60 years, they were taking uranium out of Burkina Faso, of Niger, of Mali. Now, do you know that one of every light bulbs in France is being powered by uranium from the African countries? 33% of the electricity of France is being powered by the uranium from Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. What is it that they've paid for? Nothing, zero. Because the government that were in place were Western-sponsored government. The government allow French companies, US companies, Italian companies, German companies to rape the people of Burkina Faso, the people of Niger, the people of Mali. Now we have a military, they call it the military junta, like it's a military junta, like it's a scary thing. But the people love the military. You take a guy like Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso, this is a man we should champion. The man is simply amazing. He's doing good work for his people. And when we in the West talk about the kind of leaders that we should appreciate, the kind of leaders that we should like, the kind of leader that we should prop, well, you should like a leader who cares about his people, leaders who can provide education, who could provide medical care for his people, who's not stealing the money, who's not keeping bank account in Western Bank because they want to be millionaire while the people are dying. So if you find a leader who's doing that, that's the person you want to embrace. That's the person that you want to be with. That's the person you want to prop. But that's not the West's interest. The West is not interested in the well-being of African children. They couldn't give two hoots about whether all the African children died. But the truth is, they have for centuries been raping this country, and they know what they've been doing. And the funny thing is, and I'll tell you why they know. Jacques Chirac, okay, who was president of France, he said this before he died. In fact, while he was president, he said, don't forget one thing, and that is a large portion of the money we have in our purses come precisely from the exploitation of Africa over the centuries. So he said, we need a little measure of good sense. And he didn't say generosity, he said good sense and justice to render to African, because we took from them, we stole from them. And this is necessary if we want to avoid the most severe turmoil, difficulty with all the political consequences that would bring in the near future. And he said it. He said it. He said it. He actually knew that was going to happen. So the question is, what are the French going to do? Because they're not going to find another country in Africa to exploit. So they're going to have to pay good money for the uranium if they want the uranium. Okay, they have to pay good money for it. So please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And this channel, we address issues that matter to you, things that you want to know. And I've been following what's going on in the Sahel in Africa. And I think every Black person should pay attention to it, especially African-American in this country. We need to pay attention to what's going on in Africa, because Africa is the next frontier. I don't care what anybody says. Africa has the largest number of young people, percentage of young people. Africa, the continent, is going to be in the next few years bigger than what China is. So you want to invest, look towards Africa. But let's look at leaders of Africa who are doing the right thing by the African people. This is the professor. Please don't forget to like the channel. I will see you later.